loaded than you might think. Coming up on GMSA, we're going to be talking about what turnout looks like so far, how that compares to previous years, and what it could mean for the final results.
Bexar County Sheriff deputies went into a house looking for drugs. They didn't find any, but this is what they found: over $200,000 in cash. We'll tell you what side of the county that happened in.
And the man convicted of ambushing and killing San Antonio Police Detective Benjamin Marconi will remain on death row this morning while the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals upheld his conviction.
And first, before we get to all of that, we do need to get to an update with you on some breaking news. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away at the age of 84. Cheney, often described as the most powerful modern vice president, helped shape America's post-9/11 response and was a chief architect of the war on terror.
And of course, the former vice president served under President George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009. Cheney was a defining force in U.S. politics for decades, and we, of course, are going to continue to follow this breaking news story throughout the morning.
We do got a statement, too, just sent in to us by Cheney's family, saying in part, quote, Dick Cheney was a great and good man who taught his children and grandchildren to love our country and to live lives of courage, honor, love, kindness, and fly fishing. We are grateful beyond measure for all of Dick Cheney did for our country. And you can read that full quote at KSAT.com right now. I know a lot of people are weighing in on this. This is something that's kind of rocked the airways of a lot of different platforms right now.
Absolutely. We'll continue to follow the very latest there and get you more information online. But good morning. Welcome to GMSA. It is now 6 o'clock. I'm RJ Marquez.
And I am Daphne Gray. We got to get to meteorologist Justin Horn. Obviously, 50-degree weather in the morning times. Still a little warm in the afternoon, though.
It will be. So if you're headed to the polls today and you, hopefully there won't be a lot of long lines, but if you're waiting in line outside, just know it'll be a little bit warm during the afternoon hours. So let's start with some of the headlines here. Gradually warming each day. So yes, today will be warm, but the next few days will be even warmer. And one thing we'll be watching for is some fog. Not necessarily this morning, but Wednesday through Friday, a real possibility in the morning hours. So that could affect the morning commutes on those days. Our next front arrives Sunday morning. This will be a pretty significant front in the sense that it will bring some gusty winds and so much cooler air. Unfortunately, it does not bring any rain with it, but it does bring changes for us as we get into early next week. Outside right now, if you're walking out the door at this hour, 51, 48 New Braunfels, 49 Converse. You see a little bit of light on the horizon there. Sun will be up here in about 45 minutes or so. And very light winds. Once the sun comes up, we'll see a pretty rapid warm up, a lot like yesterday. 60 at 9 o'clock, noontime 73, 76 at 1 p.m. And our high temperature today will be right around 80 with clear skies. Tomorrow, again, maybe some fog to start, and those temperatures really do climb. Another look at the 7-day forecast is headed your way too here in just a couple minutes. But let's get you out the door and on the road. RJ, what are you seeing?
All right, thank you, Justin. 6:01, and traffic has been kind of slow going across many parts of the city of San Antonio. 42 minutes right now if you're coming in from New Braunfels. That's going to be our biggest delay when it comes to our inbound drive times. 25 minutes coming in on the far northwest side, and 31 minutes coming in the Floresville area if you are taking Old Corpus Christi Highway. Let's zoom in a little bit on the northeast side. Two different trouble spots right here. One basically Evans Road all the way up to FM 3009. We're seeing about a 15-minute delay for all of our drivers making their way through there. And a little bit further south, the Live Oak area, 35 at 1604. This one stretch from Pat Booker to Topper Wine, also seeing about a 15-20 minute delay. But we do have a crash to let you know about. Alex Gomez is currently at the scene of this incident on the east side of town. So let's check in with him. Alex.
Yeah, good morning, RJ, and this is going to be at 35 northbound just past Frost Bank Center Drive, and this first vehicle right here is going to be closer to the access road. So the access road has that left lane block, and it looks like they're going to be transporting somebody out of here. And in the background, right over here where the tow truck is, that's where the second vehicle is involved. That's going to be closer to the main lane, so you are going to have slowing on the right side of 35 northbound. No major backup at this point on the main lanes, but just slow it down for SAPD because they are in the area, RJ.
Thank you for that update, Alex. We'll check back in with him in just a bit.
Hey there, good morning. A major swap bust on the south side that's taken guns and a suspect off the streets. Deputies found 33 firearms and more than $200,000 in cash, all believed to be tied to drug trafficking. It happened during a raid at a home on Cantrell Drive on the south side. That's near Southwest Military and Commercial Avenue. The SWAT K-9 found several hidden items, and they led them to a detached building known as a clubhouse filled with Bandido's biker gang insignia, body armor, and a stolen motorcycle. 60-year-old Anselmo Barrera is now in the Bexar County Jail, charged with possession of body armor by a convicted felon. Now, he could also face additional charges. Coming up on GMSA, the role deputies say he held in the biker gang, and we take a look at his previous arrest right here in Bexar County. Devin?
And today is the day we're going to finally learn the fate of a new Spurs arena. When are we actually going to hear results, though? Those should start coming in at about 7 p.m., so we should know in time for the night beat. So far, more than 143,000 people have showed up to the polls to early vote. And if that number sounds like it's a lot, it is for an off-year election. An off-year election happens whenever there's not a presidential or midterm election happening at the same time to boost turnout with popular national issues. So far, turnout is sitting at just over 11%. That's already higher than the total vote turnout for 8 out of 10 November off-year elections that have happened for the last 22 years. Political science chair at UT San Antonio, John Taylor, says turnout for these is usually low, and while it might not climb that high, more than likely, props A and B are causing energy among voters voting one way or the other.
And just in general, just the messaging that's gotten out there. I mean, you're seeing electronic billboards left and right. You're seeing advertisements on every college football and NFL football game this weekend. You're seeing the owner of the Spurs everywhere on TV talking about basic community and all that. So it may be resonating just enough.
We'll be following the polls all day over the air and on our streams at KSAT.com. The polls themselves are going to open up at 7 a.m. After that, we should be hearing an update from the Bexar County Elections Department at around 11 a.m. or so. We're going to be streaming that online at KSAT.com. If you scan that QR code on your screen, it's going to take you to a website list where you're going to be able to see where the closest poll is to you, what's going to be on the ballot, and how to make sure that your voice is heard. You can stick with us all day over the air and online at KSAT.com. For now, I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you very much, Devin. Well, this election day, voters will also be deciding on funding for school upgrades and technology in some area school districts. Marion ISD, that's between the Schertz and New Braunfels area, is the third fastest growing districts in the greater San Antonio area. It has more than 1,700 kids enrolled and is expecting 5,000 new homes to be built in the next decade. They're asking voters to approve Proposition A, that is a $60 million bond proposal to build a new elementary school, buy new school buses, additional land, and take care of other district upgrades. All right, how about Schertz-Cibolo Universal City ISD? They're asking their voters there to increase property tax rates there by 6 cents. Prop A, if approved, would raise about $16 million annually to pay for staff raises, student programs, and school safety.
This morning, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals has denied Otis McCain's direct appeal of his death sentence. You may remember McCain convicted of killing San Antonio Police Detective Benjamin Marconi back in 2016, ambushing him as he sat in his patrol car outside of police headquarters. Prosecutors called it a calculated attack, and jurors took just 25 minutes to find McCain guilty in 2021, but his attorneys claimed that he was denied a fair trial. That's the state's highest criminal court disagreeing, ruling that his statements to police were voluntary and that there was no racial bias in jury selection. For now, McCain's conviction and death sentence stand, though no execution date has been set.
Well, today will be day 17 of testimony in the trial of 3 former officers accused in the killing of Melissa Perez. In case you missed it, the defense called retired SAPD detective and Sergeant Lisa Miller to the stand. Miller testified yesterday that she spoke with 3 other officers not charged in this case who were at the scene and had their weapons drawn. Now, one of those officers told Miller that they would have shot at Perez, but it was not safe for them to do so. If found guilty, Eliazar Alejandro, Alfred Flores, and Nathaniel Villalobos all face up to life in prison. And we are live streaming this trial. Testimony is expected again to continue later on today around 1:30 this afternoon. You can watch it on all of our streaming platforms.
It seemed to be a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You see the video right there. Train crashing into that 18-wheeler. But in more ways than one we're talking about, as KSAT 12 viewers share this jaw-dropping video showing a train barreling into a big rig at a railroad crossing in Schertz. Now, the crash Sunday morning happened near Schertz Parkway in FM 78. Police said that the truck got caught on the tracks, and there are signs nearby warning truckers not to use the crossing.
Guys, come out there and they try to go over the track and then they get stuck.
Now, police say that because the railroad crossing is on an incline, big rigs with low-hanging trailers have a tough time going over the tracks. They say that anyone who does get stuck should call 911 immediately. Government shutdown now ties for the longest in American history at 35 days. And this morning, White House says that it will partially fund the SNAP food aid program after a pair of judges ruling required the payments to continue. And that means that the 1 in 8 Americans that rely on the program to buy groceries will get the help that they need. Although the funds have been delayed for millions already, and the amount of beneficiaries received will be reduced.
Right outside with High Cam at 609, 51 degrees. Here's what we got headed our way. The jet stream buckles this week and brings down some colder air, a cold front, which means gusty winds and much cooler temperatures. We'll show it to you coming up.
There is a wedding band that you wear with the engagement ring, so sometimes men don't know that.
Well, something else you may not know is just how much those rings are going to cost you. Up next, if you're getting married sometime soon, fellas, listen up. We have the top things that you need to know before you go out to the jewelry store.
And menopause is taking a toll at work. Some women say the symptoms force them to quit, costing careers and paychecks. What experts say workplaces need to do. Next.
Tuesday night is election night, and there are so many big issues on the ballot that could impact downtown San Antonio and other small communities in our area. Be sure to join us throughout the day here on KSAT, on air and online, for all the latest election day coverages, from Props A and Props B that could shape the future of the Freeman Coliseum, the Frost Bank Center, the east side of San Antonio, to what Project Marvel could potentially look like if Proposition B is ultimately passed. We're going to have it all covered for you throughout the day. You can find your sample ballot and all the list of polling locations. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Just go to kstat.com/vote for the very latest on all of that. Myself, Myra Arthur, and Stefania Jimenez will have you covered throughout the evening, starting at 7 p.m. with a special stream on KSAT, the KSAT Plus app, and ksat.com. So be sure to join us for that. And of course, Stephanie and I will have a complete wrap-up of the day's events on Tuesday night on the night beat at 10 o'clock. Again, ksat.com/vote for the very latest on election night 2025.
Hey there, good morning. Well, it's that time of the year when couples start thinking about proposals. But this year, the cost of saying yes is climbing very fast. From soaring gold prices to choosing the right type of diamond, I spoke with a jewelry expert who breaks down what you need to know before you buy.
Nothing says love like the perfect engagement ring.
So pretty.
What's not romantic is thinking about tariffs, rising gold prices, and competition between lab-grown or natural diamond sellers.
This is how we inspect, obviously, the stones. And
Kelly Wade-Fry, a jewelry store owner and gemologist, says on average, couples can expect to pay in the range of $4,000 just for the engagement ring, with designer prices costing a lot more.
to know where you are in your life and spend what you're comfortable with and buy something beautiful and that is significant to present, because, the intention when you're getting engaged is you're showing your sacrifice.
Wade says showing that emotional investment is getting more sacrificial.
When I started in the jewelry business, gold was $400 an ounce. And last I checked yesterday, it was $4,200 an ounce.
The popularity of lab-grown diamonds has driven down prices. Wade doesn't carry them at her store, but understands the lure.
Just people are making a decision for, financial reasons.
Here's what she says. If you're you're in the market for an engagement ring. Ask about gold carat. 24 is the purest form of gold, 10K is the least. Knowing that could impact the price you pay. She cautions against buying online. While it is cheaper, nothing beats walking out of the store knowing exactly what you paid for. And deal with AGS certified jewelers. Documentation about the diamond's quality protects your hard-earned investment. Oh, and one more thing.
Buy the engagement ring, and then there is a wedding band that you wear with the engagement ring. So sometimes men don't know that. So I think it's always one of those surprise, wait, I have to buy another ring?
Okay, very interesting there, Patty, and we'll have that story online. But let's talk about this here, because this is Via Link. This is brand new, and Via just expanded its rideshare service to the southeast region of Bexar County. So again, this is a big deal for people who rely on public transportation around Brooks and City Base, but of course still have to walk some long distances to get to where they need to be. You see right there, Stephanie Jimenez spoke with a woman who says that Via Link on the southeast side of town will make her commute to work so much easier.
I don't mind the heat, but the cold and when it's raining, it's kind of difficult.
Okay, but those days are over for Miss Sandra. Now, when the bus drops her off in the morning, she could hop on one of these Via Links. There's these little vans that kind of take up to 4 people, and it'll get her 4 minutes to get to her job. Pretty cool.
I wish we could bring Patty back in here because I want to talk about these rings again. I'm learning so much this morning. I was
Been
just like,
there,
wait, what?
Past it, so I'm good.
That's a good story. It's a great story. So if you guys are interested, please go to our website. Check it out, especially if you're trying to propose.
Yes, good information.
It's the season.
It's good information.
Okay. All right, let's get out on the roadways.
Yes.
Yeah, and so here's what's left of the scene on the east side. This is going to be 35 northbound just past Frost Bank Center Drive. And on the frontage road, we do have the left lane blocked. And the other vehicle involved is actually closer to the main lanes, right there in the background. So the right shoulder is being utilized right now by that tow truck driver. So the main lanes of I-35 northbound is going to have some slowing, but it's only about a quarter mile along right now, RJ.
Okay, thank you very much, and let's bring it back over here to the studio. Alex, again, first on the scene out there. Here's a look, kind of an overhead view of what we're looking at 35 at Frost Bank Center. You see slow going right here. Give yourself about 20 extra minutes just to kind of navigate yourself through this area. Just a lot of activity over there by the Frost Bank Center. Of course, that is the main thoroughfare to get to the current Spurs home right there. All right, on the northeast side of town, still dealing with some major delays. You can see that the situation here has gotten a little bit worse for our folks. Evans Road all the way to past FM 3009, headed up towards 1103. So we're looking now at about a 25-30 minute delay for all of our folks on the far northeast side of town, headed past Sherritt, Cibolo, and Selma. We'll continue to keep you updated on both of these situations as you make your way through on your Tuesday morning commutes. All right, let's go to Justin now. Obviously, a lot of folks are going to be out today, hitting the polls, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to look out there.
It's going to be busy out there. More great weather, RJ, as we walk you through hour by hour here. 60 at 9 o'clock, noontime 73. We'll be up around 80 today, which, by the way, is above average. The average is around 76, so this is fairly warm. We'll have sunny skies, and we may start to see some fog by tomorrow morning. Now, we're not seeing a lot this morning, but we are starting to see moisture return a little bit. And so let's fast forward to 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is when the fog starts to develop, and I think it could get fairly thick around the area, depending on where you are. You know, fog's kind of hit or miss. But we could see visibility reduced down to a 10th mile in some cases, which would affect the morning commute tomorrow. So this would be something you'll want to keep in mind. And I think we do this again Thursday and Friday, too. So that will be one of the big things we're watching the next few days. The other big thing is going to be a cold front. The jet stream has been pretty far to the north, keeping a lot of the cold air bottled up to the north, but it starts to buckle a little bit this weekend, and that's going to help to push the front through on Sunday. We'll get kind of a glancing blow, but I do think we'll see some colder air as we get into Sunday and Monday of next week, and it also kicks up the winds. That will be another big part of this. Gusty winds, maybe 35, 40 mile per hour wind gusts. That's the yellow bar here, and I think Sunday will by far be our windiest day, but also a dry day, so the fire danger is going to be very high. The precipitation outlook beyond that, still dry, so you can see why we would have some fire concerns here. So let's put it all together for you. 80s this week, fog in the morning, warm on Saturday, colder Sunday, and down to 40 Monday morning with a high of 66.
All right. Thank you so much, Justin. Time now, 6:21 right now, 51 degrees outside.
Okay, well, as we've been talking about this story here, menopause taking a toll at work. Some women say that symptoms forcing them to quit, costing careers and paychecks. What experts say that workplaces need to look out for. Coming up next.
In this morning's GMA First Look, menopause and the workplace.
I just couldn't do it anymore.
As the conversation around menopause turns more public, women like Chris Rogers in California are speaking out about the need for accommodations in the workplace. She quit her office job after experiencing menopause symptoms, including mood swings, joint pain, and heavy bleeding at work.
I was having to go to the bathroom like every half an hour.
She's not alone. Stanford researchers called economic losses the menopause penalty. Their report estimating that working women's earnings may decline 10% in the 4 years after they were diagnosed with menopause, when they had to work fewer hours or leave the workforce altogether because of their symptoms. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on menopause in the workplace and how some companies and policymakers are responding. With your GMA First Look, I'm Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
All right, yesterday's pollen count. We'll get today's in here soon. Molds are low and phloem is low, so better looking pollen count than what we had been dealing with. Again, we'll pass along the new pollen count when that comes in here in about an hour. All right, our Just Ask Justin question this morning has to do with Election Day. We want to know why. What's the main reason elections are on the first Tuesday in November? Your options are to accommodate farmers, to align with the end of daylight saving time. Is it because it's the anniversary of the Constitution, or it's Lincoln's birthday? Go to ksat.com/polls, scan the QR code, and weigh in.
All right, class, what does this basic Oreo cookie plus this Thanksgiving turkey equal? How about not your grandma's Thanksgiving dinner? Oreo fans, we got some new Oreo flavors coming your way to tell you about that you may or may not find tasty. Plus, today is the day again to let your voice be heard on that new Spurs Arena. That and so many other propositions on the ballot, and we're getting you prepared to hit the polls again. 6:30 right now. Back to the breaking news that we've been covering all morning long. This morning, unfortunately, former Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away at the age of 84. Cheney, often described as the most powerful modern vice president, helped shape America's post-9/11 response and was a chief architect of the war on terror.
That's right. The former VP served under President George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009. Cheney was a defining force in the U.S. politics for decades. We're going to continue to follow this breaking story throughout the rest of this Tuesday morning.
We did get a statement coming into our newsroom by Cheney's family saying in part, quote, Dick Cheney was a great and good man who taught his children and grandchildren to love our country and to live lives of courage, honor, love, kindness, and fly fishing. We are grateful beyond measure for all Dick Cheney did for our country. You can read this full quote right now on our website at KSAT.com.
Bexar County Sheriff deputies went into a house looking for drugs. They didn't find any, but this is what they found: over $200,000 in cash. We'll tell you what side of the county that happened in.
While it might be empty now, the Bexar County Elections headquarters will soon be busy today, with polls opening up at 7 a.m. Coming up on GMSA, when you're going to hear results and how it's all going to break down.
Are you feeling the effects of a government shutdown? Coming up, we'll show you where you can get a free hot lunch here in downtown San Antonio, Texas.
Well, your wallet inside may be frightful, but it doesn't have to be this holiday season. We're talking tips on gift giving on a budget while still creating those meaningful holiday memories.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning again. Coming up on 6:31 right now on GMSA. Thanks so much for waking up with us.
All right, so we're going to get you an update on the traffic situation in just a bit, but of course it is Election Day. So let's check in with Justin right now for a look at your Election Day forecast and what some of the folks out there can expect when they hit the polls.
Well, if you're heading out the door right now, of course, polls opening here soon. It's a little cool, but not cold. Maybe a jacket for a few hours this morning, and then you can go short sleeves this afternoon with temperatures expected to get into the 80s. Let's go outside for you. Sun is almost up. You see a little bit of haze there We're not seeing a whole lot of fog this morning, but that is something we're going to be watching next few days as humidity levels increase, especially during the morning time. Right now it is 51 degrees at the airport, 48 in New Braunfels, 49 Converse, 46 in Boerne. As you walk out the door this morning, know that sunrise will be around 6:50, so we are still about 20 minutes or so away. 5:45 will be the sunset this evening. We have 10 hours, 54 minutes of daylight today. And your forecast will take us up to 60 by 9 a.m., 70 at 11 o'clock, 80. High temperature, and that is above average. Yes, very warm. But we do get those changes by the weekend. We've been talking about that cold front. We've been talking about the fire danger and that potential for fog. We'll get into all of it coming up here in just a couple minutes. But we got to get you out the door and on the road. RJ.
All right, Justin, let's give you a look here to your inbound traffic times with your traffic authority. And check that out, 76 minutes right now. If you're coming in from the New Braunfels area, we have got major delays basically by FM 3009 all the way up to 1103. So we'll kind of zoom in on that in just a little bit. Real quick, though, just want to remind our folks out here, far west side of town, 90. We're looking at about 30-minute delay for our folks out there in the Castroville area. So here's the biggest backup at the moment, basically from Evans Road all the way past Roy Richard Drive, headed up towards 1103. We're looking at about a 35-minute delay for our folks that are making their way on 35 South. But we do have some good news. We have cleared out that crash over here in the 35, the northbound lanes at Frost Bank Center. So smooth going here on the east side of town. Let's go to Patty now with a look at one of our top stories this half hour. Good morning, Patty.
Hey there, good morning. So we're learning more this morning about that major SWAT raid on the south side where deputies say they uncovered a stockpile of weapons, cash, and biker gang ties. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says Anselmo Barrera, now booked in the county jail, isn't just any suspect. He is the high-ranking national member of the Bandidos outlaw motorcycle gang. During that raid last night on Cantrell Drive in the south side, deputies found 33 firearms, 2 body armor vests, and more than $200,000 in cash, all believed to be tied to drug trafficking. And they say that's Barrera right there, by the way. They also recovered a stolen Harley-Davidson motorcycle and a stolen pistol. BCSO says additional charges are pending. Now, we did search online records. We found that he was tied to some felony arrests from back in the 90s. Those were related to cocaine. And this morning, investigators say they will now have to dig deeper into what they're calling a major organized crime operation tied to the south side. We'll keep you updated on that. Devin?
Today is the day we are finally going to find out the fate of a brand new Spurs arena in downtown San Antonio. But when are we actually going to know the results? Those should start coming into our newsroom at about 7 p.m., right before the night beat, so we'll make sure to keep you informed. So far, more than 143,000 people have already shown up to polls just like this one for early voting. And if that number seems like a lot, it is, especially when you consider we're in an off-year election. An off-year election happens when there's not a presidential or midterm election happening at the same time to draw in large voter turnout support with big attention-grabbing national issues. Over here in San Antonio, though, turnout is sitting just above 11%. That's already higher than 8 out of the last 10 off-year elections in November we've had over the last 20 years. Political science chair at UT San Antonio, Dr. John Taylor, says turnout for these types of elections is usually low. And while it may not climb that high into general or midterm election numbers, more than likely, Props A and B are causing energy among voters no matter which way they're deciding to vote.
Just in general, just the messaging that's gotten out there. I mean, you're seeing electronic billboards left and right. You're seeing advertisements on every college football and NFL football game this weekend. You're seeing the owner of the Spurs everywhere on TV talking about basic community and all that. So it may be resonating just enough, and I think
we'll be following the polls all day over the air and online at our streams at KSAT.com. We should see polls open up at 7 a.m. here coming up. Less than an hour, we're going to be getting an update from the Bexar County Elections Department around 11 a.m. We'll be streaming that online at KSAT.com. You can follow us for the results where we'll be keeping you updated. Coming up at 7 p.m., we'll have a live stream with Myra Arthur and Uni Zuniga talking about the election results as we get them in with local reaction on Props A and B, some some of the other initiatives on the ballot and making sure to keep you informed. That's going to be kicking off at about 7 p.m. over at KSAT. In the meantime, if you scan that QR code on the bottom of your screen, it's going to take you to a link for an article where you'll be able to see what is on your ballot, when to vote, and the closest polling location for you. We've got all those details online for you. In the meantime, I'll send it back. I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Devin. And another reminder right there to voters, they're going to have to decide how to get to the polling location. Luckily, VIA has you covered. They're making that decision a lot easier for you. As a part of VIA's Ride VIA to Vote program, you can catch a bus via Link or via Trans Ride for free. All you got to do, show your Bexar County voter registration card when you're bored. The goal right there is to make sure that everyone has a way to cast their ballot. You can plan your trip using the Transit or the VIA Go Mobile Plus app.
Are you affected by the government shutdown? Follow me to come get a free hot meal in downtown San Antonio, Texas. Now through Friday, November 7th, Corazon Ministries is teaming up with Travis Park Church to help people in need. To get a meal here, it's no questions asked. Now let's go take a look inside.
It was a no-brainer. Let's just get together and make this happen.
And that's exactly what they've done, pulling together volunteers, resources, and space to make sure families hit hardest by the government shutdown have somewhere to turn.
Anytime there's a need, we step in and do whatever we can.
But you don't have additional funding?
No, at this time, no additional funding to cover that support.
Even without extra funding of their own, organizers say they couldn't ignore the growing need in our city.
Volunteers were ready to step up and go.
And with more people facing uncertainty during this shutdown, their message is simple.
Anybody and everybody is welcome.
Lunches will be served through Friday from 11:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. right here at these doors on Travis Street. Just make sure you have your ID ready. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Avery, thank you. All right, let's go outside with live cam at 6:38, 51 degrees clear skies this morning. And we have burn bans across many of our counties. We'll tell you why this is going to be really important as we get into the weekend. That's coming up.
All right, thank you very much. Justin, traffic right here, Bandera Road on the far northwest side of town. Moving along, but starting to see a little bit of delays over by Braun and Shanefield. We'll get you an update on this situation. Also get you an update on northeast side and, of course, downtown construction as well.
Holiday shopping can quickly snowball into debt. In fact, more than 1 in 4 shoppers plan to borrow to cover gifts. Up next, what you can do now to make sure that that debt doesn't linger long after the season ends.
Time. Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th, and in Bexar County there are 2 big items on the ballot, Propositions A and B, and both have to do with a potential new Spurs Arena downtown. Prop B would allow Bexar County to pay up to $311 million for that new arena using venue taxes. Prop A takes a look at the Frost Bank Center and the Coliseum should the Spurs make the move. It would allow the county to use roughly $200 million in those same venue taxes to shore up the Frost Bank Center Coliseum grounds, make upgrades to allow the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo to become a year-round tenant there. It's up to voters to decide on what happens with both Prop A and Prop B. The last day to vote is now Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. To take a look at a list of polling locations, go to ksat.com/vote. That's also where you can find a sample ballot so you can read those propositions before you head to the polls.
6:43 right now. We're coming up on the season when gift giving can take over our lives.
Absolutely, but with many Americans still worried about rising costs, resale or secondhand shopping is becoming a more popular way for finding value.
What we're finding is that consumers are ready to spend nearly 40% of their holiday budgets on secondhand, which is up significantly from last year.
But as our Stephanie Cerna found out, all those gifts can add up quickly, leaving even more people planning to take on some debt this upcoming season.
Well, staying within your budget during the holidays can be difficult for a lot of people. According to a recent Bankrate survey, more than 1 in 4 shoppers plan to take on debt during this time. However, we know that debt can stick around long after the gift-giving season. CNN's Michael Yoshida joins us from Washington, D.C. with ways to avoid this. Well, Michael, first of all, what are some financial pitfalls to avoid, and what are some ways that shoppers are finding savings?
There's Stephanie. Yeah, we spoke with several financial and value experts on how to be strategic and savvy this holiday shopping season. Obviously, the pressure of maybe finding that perfect gift, the emotions of the holidays can lead us sometimes to make some maybe bad financial decisions. So some of those pitfalls, some things to be aware of. Obviously, you want to keep this in mind throughout the entirety of the year, but again, during the holidays, maybe some added pressure. So when it comes to those debit cards, really important, know your balance. You don't want to suffer those overdraft fees. Also, when it comes to that credit card, even if you have that high balance, try not to spend beyond your budget. Obviously, you don't want to have this be debt that you're having to pay off for months and months to come. And of course, there's so many ways to use buy now, pay later. There's so many of these services now that you can really use them for almost anything. But those we spoke with said if you're going to, maybe try your best to use them for bigger items, those non-discretionary items. You don't want to be racking up maybe 15, 20 different payment plans here that you could easily forget about, and that could impact your credit scores down the line if you were to miss a payment. And when it comes to saving, a few options here. A value expert we spoke with talked about how obviously start early. Don't wait till Black Friday or right before Christmas to start doing some of that shopping. Also, if you do have some of those reward programs or credit cards, try and utilize those. And another big one this year we're seeing is people just being open to secondhand shopping or resale shopping. A recent report and survey from ThreadUp found nearly 40% of people's holiday budgets are going towards some of these resale or secondhand item buying, and that they're really much more open to it this year. Obviously, a lot of concern out there when it comes to rising prices. So those we spoke with say, you know, this is somewhere where you can find some value, some more bang for your buck, and maybe really find some more interesting and personal items. So again, those gifts, they have value, but also meaning when you give them to your loved ones.
All right, Michael Yoshida in Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us, and good things to remember at this time of year.
Good to know there. And also something great to know for all of our Oreo lovers out there. Check this out. Launching 6 new Thanksgiving themed flavors. And those flavors including turkey and stuffing, sweet potato, and cream corn. Also, there's caramel apple pie, pumpkin pie, and cranberry sauce. Each Oreo cookie covered in fudge that's infused with one of the 6 flavors. Thanksgiving flavored Oreos are only available through the Oreo website. Justin has already been frequenting it this morning, and I'm just like, bro, I don't know what you're thinking, because I just can't understand an Oreo outside of its original Oreo taste. No thank you for me, but yes for him.
It's just free advertising. That's all that's happening.
If they had gravy flavored, you'd be all in on that.
Oh,
right?
it's all a ploy to get people to their website. But, you know,
Look, he's so excited about these stories. Anyways, let's get to the roadways, RJ.
Yes, let's do that. I tried the pumpkin pie. That'd be good.
No,
I like
just keep it basic. Basic.
All right, let's get you updated on the situation out here on the northeast side of town. Taking a look there, that's going to be FM 2252 as we take a look at some of our TransGuide traffic cameras over there. So again, this is going to be on the northeast side of town. I'm going to switch over to the downtown area here in just a bit, because obviously we're seeing some backups right there by Roy Richard Drive and the Selma area. So give yourself about an extra 30 to 35 minutes. You see the traffic headed southbound there. And then, of course, downtown, check this out. Traffic is actually not looking too bad over here for our folks in the downtown area headed past Frio Street. Usually we see this line of brake lights all the way past Frio Street headed up towards Cincinnati and Culebra. But my guess is because there are some school districts that are on a student holiday today, including North Side and Northeast Side. See that we're just not seeing too many people on the roads at this point. But we'll monitor the entire situation. Justin, how are things looking out there for folks making their way outside?
Looks good. And by the way, you know what is a good Oreo flavor? Oreo. Keep it basic, keep it simple. That's the way we like it. And it's a basic forecast today. 52 degrees as you head out the door this morning. Cool and quiet. Sunny skies this afternoon. Will be up near 80, so it is going to be a warm day. If you're headed to the bus stop right now, you may want to take a jacket with you. Most places are right around 50 here in San Antonio. As you get into the hill country, you're going to find some 40s. 42 Comfort, 44 right now in Bandera, 51 for our friends in Seguin, 51 right now in Nixon. Here's where we end up today. Yes, right around 80 here in San Antonio. A little bit warmer as you go south, obviously a little bit cooler as you get up into the hills. 77 Bernie today, 78 in Comfort, 79 up in Canyon Lake. Now let's talk dew points. This is going to be an important factor in our forecast next few days. Dew points don't go up dramatically, but they come up enough to where we have to start being concerned about a little bit of fog. This is 6 p.m. dew points in the low 50s. that's still just fine. But by tomorrow morning, we're going to see that dew point drift closer to 60. Temperature, dew point get close together, and that is always a good recipe for fog. And I think that's what we'll see tomorrow morning. Probably again Thursday morning and Friday morning too, as dew points rise ever so slightly. Then on Sunday morning specifically, we get a front through, and that really drops dew points. So by Monday, we're going to be very dry. Dew points really fall off a ledge here. So very dry conditions Sunday, but you're going to pair that with some gusty winds, and that means there is a high fire threat as we get into Sunday. And you see the burn bans there for most of our viewing area, and that includes most of our counties. It's just a good idea to, not do any outdoor burning as we get into the weekend with these kind of gusty winds and that kind of dry air that we have in place. All right, now let's get to the 7-day forecast. 81 Wednesday, 83 Thursday, 86 Friday. It gets quite warm before that front moves in, but cooler behind that boundary. 72 Sunday, 66 on Monday with sunny skies. All right, let's go to our Just Ask Justin question this morning. It is Election Day after all. And my question to you is, what's the main reason elections are held on the first Tuesday of November? And here's the reason. We voted, and to accommodate farmers seems to be the general idea here. It's getting all the votes. What do you guys think?
Go.
There's votes for all.
You know what? I'm going to go A because this one definitely stumped me. But I will say, Justin, I don't know if you look back at these percentages, but this looks like one of the closest votes that we've ever had.
It's a good
for
one.
One of the Just Ask Justin.
It's a good one. So
A for me.
You know what? The viewers are right, but by a thin margin. It is to accommodate farmers. That is the main reason. But they enacted this back in 1845, guys. So when it was established in 1845, early November was picked because the harvest had been completed and weather was still mild. When it comes to Tuesday, Sunday was a worship day and Wednesday was the farmer's market day. So both days couldn't be used to travel. So they came up with Tuesday and early November for that reason.
I gotta love history, man. I love it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much for that, Justin. Coming up on GMSA Plus, we're minutes away from the polls opening across Bexar County on Election Day with highly anticipated ballot items hanging in the balance. We have a live look at how all these voters are about to head out.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's go outside for you. Sun is now officially up and temperatures sitting at 50. So we did drop a degree. I think next hour we'll start to see these numbers rise. 48 in New Braunfels right now, 49 in Converse. In your forecast for today, 60 at 9 a.m., 70 at 11 o'clock, and then we'll reach a high temperature right around 80 or so later this afternoon. Some warm weather ahead, also some morning fog Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We do get a nice front that slides through on Sunday.
All right, Justin, let's give you one more look at your traffic authority before we get you outside. Biggest delay at this moment is going to be 35 South right here at Roy Richard and 1103. So be careful if you're headed out in the far northeast side of town. We're going to have a lot more news, traffic, weather coming your way. GMSA Plus in just a little bit.